Hey everyone, I can understand you, and today we're going to be going over the new enchantments in Hypixel Skyblock from the Enchantment 2.0 update, and how you can get them. So this is going to be quite a bit a long video, because there are a lot more enchantments, and level 7 enchantments. So, let's get right into it. Okay, so first you have the farming collections. You have the turbo amounts. So you have turbo potato, 25% in potatoes, turbo wheat, 25% wheat, etc. You got expertise 10. You get 20% extra fishing XP, and then spawn chance by 6%. You can get this from the community shop and upgrade it. Then you move on to turbo pumpkin, turbo carrot, turbo cacti, sorry, compact, which you gain 10% extra mining XP and drop an enchanted block every 175 blocks you mine. Now, that's a lie because it's not an enchanted block, it's just an enchanted resource. So we move on to turbo warts, which is another 25%. Turbo melon, 25%. As you can see, every turbo melon, or turbo 5, is just going to be an extra 25%. Turbo carrot, turbo mushrooms, turbo cane, etc. And then we move on to the new ones. Projectile Protection 7. This did not exist before this update, and you can only get level 6 and level 7 from experiments. We'll get into those later. But for right now, that's the only way you can get these. And then it conflicts with Fire Protection, Blast Protection, and Protection. Then you move on to Sharpness 7. You can now get it from experiments as well. So that's a cheaper way of getting Sharpness 7. That should drop in price once the auction house is reopened. Move on to Efficiency 5. Nothing's changed there. Protection 7. You can now get that from experiments as well. Lure 6. Fishing. Power 7, also now from experiments as well. A lot of the 7 books can now get it from experiments. You move on to Smelting Touch, which is normal. Smite 7, you can now get from experiments as well. You move on to Bane of Arthropods, which is only from experiments, and you can get it up to level 7. So this is going to be great for things like the Scorpion stuff. So if you want to grind spiders, this is the book to use. Move on to Blast Protection, which is insane. 210% defense. Like, there isn't a lot of explosions, but if there was, this would be insane, but nobody uses Blast Protection anyway. And also, it was buffed, so it has a lot more defense. Move on to Fire Protection 7, which this is going to be insane for things such as the fire trials. So if you put this on Mastiff set, you're going to be good. But that's only for the fire trial. If you're rich, you should use it. Move on to Telekinesis, same as usual. Move on to Respiration 3. Now, this can be from the Enchantment Table Plate Collection, and it actually needs a bookshelf power, which is a new measurement. If we head here, we can see that you need a bookshelf power to get certain enchantments. So there's an actual measurement now for bookshelf power, which is extremely nice. So now let's get back to the enchantments. We move on to Knockback 2, same as usual, bookshelf power again, for luck of the C6, get it from fishing only. We move on to Aqua Affinity, which is the Enchantment Table only, and then Prismarine Crystals Collection if you want to make it. Bookshelf power as well. A lot of these have bookshelf power, by the way, so get ready for me to say that a lot. Next is Punch 2, 2 bookshelf power. Move on to there's 3 pages, by the way, I'm sorry. Fellow Falling 10, only from dungeons, still sadly. I'm not going to go over bookshelf power anymore because it's probably going to get annoying for me to say it. You can see at the bottom. Move on to Fire Aspect 2, which, I mean, they fixed it, so you can use it now, and it won't conflict with any other enchantments. Experience 4, you can now get it from the enchantment table with 2 bookshelf power. Melancholic Viking is still the only way to get level 4, sadly. Move on to Fortune 3, which, it conflicts with Silk Touch. Move on to Looting 5. You can get that from experiments. So only experiments now for Looting 5, which is going to be insane for... Because this is probably going to go for maybe 2 or 3 million coins, so it would be extremely nice. You move on to Frostwalker 2. Then you move on to Thorns. These two are pretty much the same. You don't really look them. Flame's the same. Depth Strider is slightly different, I think. You can, it conflicts with Frostwalker now. I think it might have already done that, but, I might be an idiot. Move on to Silk Touch, which is Fortune and Smelting. Scavenger 5, which can now be gained from Dungeon and Experiments, so it's another one of those things. But you also need Enchanting level 1 to get it. So, now we're moving on to the Enchantment level requirements, which is going to apply to a lot of these books. So then you move on to Harvesting 5, which is Enchanting level 2, and then you can just look at the bottom to see them. I'm not going to go over all of them as that would get very annoying. Infinite Quiver 10, same. 7 of Luck, you can get this from only Experiments now. Experiments is going to be the best way to get this. I'll put a timestamp at the end of the video to where you can see how that works. And then you move on to Cubism 6, as you can see, from Experiments. A lot of these new level 6 and 7 enchantments are from Experiments only. So you need to get on this while you can. You move on to Cleave 6. They also fixed Cleave, so you can use that well. And then you move on to, Angler 6, still normal. You move on to Lifesteal 5. So there's a new Lifesteal, you can get it from experiments. And there's also a new enchant called Siphon. We're going to get into new enchants in a second, we're just going over the very basic ones. Move on to Growth 7. This is insane because you can get some experiments now, and these books used to go for like 12 or 15 million coins, which means if they stay the same price, you can make hundreds of millions of coins every day with like experiments if you're lucky, and that's absolutely insane. You move on to Rainbow 1, same, nobody really cares about that, and then Snipe 4. This is a new snipe, and a lot of bows now are going to need to be maxed out. You're going to need to change your gear out for this, just a warning. Move on to Replenish, which is the same, by the way, nothing really different. You go to Sugar Rush 3, it's the very same thing, Spooky Festival, etc. Move on to the new book, Giant Killer 7, from experiments as well, and it can also be applied to fishing weapons for some reason. And then you go to Aiming 5, nothing's changed there. Move on to Critical 6, you can get, that's not maxed out, there's a Critical 7 now from only experiments. 70% crit damage, that would be good for Livid Daggers, so you might want to hop on that. Blessing 5, which is the same. Rejuvenate. Oh boy, this one's fun. So you can only get this from dungeons, but there's a new enchantment that I think conflicts with this. So I think that's on the next page. Oh boy. Okay. Now we get into some of the new enchants. These are where the enchants really shine through. Alright? So as you can see at the conflictions, there's a triple strike confliction. That's a new enchant that we'll go over in about a second because I'm pretty sure it's on the same page as this, but there's now a First Strike 5, which you can only get from experiments, which means people are already doing 25% more damage with this update. But there's also more insane things. So you move on to Chance, which is a new book, I believe. You can get 4 and 5 from experiments, and 1 and 3 also from experiments, but from the enchantment table. And this is really good because this also applies with luck and such, and looting. So you can use Chance and looting on the same sword. As you can see, there's no confliction. So you can get like over double chance to drop exclusive items. You ever wanted a legendary Enderman pet? Well, good job. Now you have 2 times the chance to get it with this enchant. Then you move on to Ender Slayer 7, which is from experiments only. Move on to Impaling 3, same. Magna 6, the same. Execute 6, the same. Frail 6, the same, etc. And then you move on to Thunderlord 6, which you can see it conflicts with Thunderbolt. And then you have, all that stuff. And then we move on to some of the funner ones, like Lethality 6. This one will reduce some, armor, which is going to help damage. True Protection. This has a now enchantment level 15, which means you're not going to be able to buy this immediately. Sorry, guys. Then you have the new enchant that I would love. Siphon 5. Heals for 0.6 of the damage you deal on critical hits. With Livid Dagger, this is a broken enchant, because it's going to be doing an absolute monstrous amount of damage. Now, Lifesteal is not as good as this. And if you use like Livid Dagger, this is better than Lifesteal. And then I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow, or today technically, on how you can use these enchants correctly. You move on to Vampirism 6. You can get that from, same things. Caster 6, the same. Dragon Hunter 5 is actually, it actually has enchantment level now. Which is, kind of sad for all the people who wanted to be sweats in their late game, but sorry. Got to get Enchanting 16. Bank 5. This is what I hate. Because it's an enchantment level 16, but it's such a bad book. Nobody uses this. So, I mean, if they buffed it to like 25% of your coins on death and it stacks, that'd be great, but it doesn't work like that. Piercing 1, the same. Venomous 6, the same. Ultimate Jerry, this is the best one in the game. Because it has an enchantment level of 18, but it's so useless. Like, I mean, you can create a very powerful aspect of the Jerry, but it's not going to do much for you. Move on to Spiked Hook 6, the same. Triple Strike 5. Oh boy, this one is very special because it increases the melee damage dealt by 50% on the first 3 hits on the mob. This is a broken enchant because 50% extra damage on each hit 3 times. That's 150%, which if we head back up here, that's only 125%. So if you're fighting a boss, this is actually going to be better. Now, how can you use this in conjunction with First Strike? You can't, but you can use 2 different swords. You can use a boss killing sword and a mob clearing sword. mob clearing's gonna have first strike, and a boss clearing one's gonna have first strike 5. Or triple strike, I mean. Because the reason why you want triple strike 5 on that is because you're gonna be doing an extra 25%. So this is gonna be a better book for you. Then you move on to Ultimate Wise 5. Oh, hi the chicken. You can only use this at level 20 now. Thunderbolt 6. This is one of the new ones as well, excuse me. So you need 14 bookshelf power, Enchanting level 20, and it strikes monsters within 2 blocks with lightning every 3 consecutive hits, dealing 90% of your strength as damage. That's not that good. Because 90% of your strength, even some of the best strength builds can only get like 5,000 to 6,000 strength, which means that's going to be really bad. I mean, it's still better than Thunderlord, I think, right? Thunderlord. I mean, I guess, but it really just depends on which type of sword you're using. And then you got Big Brain. You obviously know this is the same enchant, 25 intelligence. Move on to Counter-Strike. This is also the same. Nothing different from that. Respite, another new enchant. This conflicts with Rejuvenate, and it increases your natural regeneration by 25% while out of combat. That means if you want to run away, like if you're an archer, this is going to be good for you. But if you're like a tank, this is not going to be good for you. Tanks are going to want to use Rejuvenate. Archers, mages are going to want to use Respite. And then berserkers are probably going to want to use a mix of the two, because berserkers aren't always going to be in a battle, you know? Now you move on to Combo 5, enchantment level 24 now. Then you move on to Prosecute 6, a new enchant. Increase damage dealt by 0.6% each percent of health. Your target has up to 35% damage. Now, this is good because, well, it's like a giant killer. But it's a bit stronger than that. So, giant killer is going to be very certain, like, damage as well. Which means, hold on, where's giant killer? Give me a second. Okay, so here's giant killer. Now, this is because it has a target above your health. But if we head over here to this page, Prosecute is only going to be doing, the actual health. So that means it's going to be based on the opponent's health instead of your health and the opponent's health. Which means if you're going to get hit or you not take hits, this is going to be very, very different. So I believe Giant Killer works in a certain way as... So Giant Killer works in a way that it increases your damage by 0.7% for each percent of extra health your target has above you up to 35%. So if you're lower on health, such as a Berserker, this will be better. But if you're like a tank, you're going to be wanting to use Prosecute. Prosecute will be better. And then you move on to Vicious 5, grants plus 5 Ferocity. I cannot overstate how good this is, because it's now going to combine with enchants like this and become much stronger. So in this update, Enchanting has completely been thrown on its head. And then you move on to the next ones, which are going to be Wisdom 5, you already know that. Titan Killer 7, it's like Giant Killer but better. Increased damage dealt by 14% for every 100 free defense up to your target. And then it conflicts with Giant Killer, which means you can use it with Prosecute over here. So, Prosecute's actually the same as Execute. Sorry about that. But they're very similar. So if you want to use those two together, you can probably get maybe about an extra 70% damage and become much stronger. No pain, no gain. Nobody uses that unless it's been fixed. Last Stand 5. This is what I mean by fixed. Sorry. Both of these are very useless. Chimera 5. That's still really powerful, but now it's 31, and it's basically the same except you need an enchanting level, so you can't just be rich and buy it. Rend 5, pretty much the same. Nobody really cares. Overload 5, the same. Still overpowered. Move on to Legion 5, the same. Swarm, and all of these are the same. So now that we've gotten through these, we're going to go over the new enchanting system. So this is the new enchanting system. So basically you have multiple minigames. I have personally just started using this, so I'm not that well adapted to it. But I'm going to give you the rundown. You have what seems like 3 of these. I'm not even enchanting level 20 because I don't really grind skills that much. And as you can see, you got Super Pairs and Chronometron. I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, these are different mini games that you can do for experience points. Now, if I want to show you... So basically, these don't have any rewards for practicing, but I believe it's like 1.5, 2.5k per each time you get a correct scoring. So this is like matching, as you can see if you go here. It's like Simon Says. You click one, it's green, and then you practice with it. So you just do that, and then let's say you mess up. So let's say I'm supposed to click green first and I click red. That means the experiment's over, and I would have earned 3,000 enchanting XP for that. So I take that, and then I would gotten 3,000. This one is also very similar. I can't practice that sadly, but you combine items, so it's like a matching game where you find certain items and you combine them with their pairs. If you can get certain items. This is how you get the books, I believe. So, and you can do about 4 of these a day. So how do you abuse this to make a tons of money? Well, it's quite simple. You can just write down the answers to certain stuff. Like if in super pairs there is a timer, but let's say on the bottom left you find a Titan Killer 7 book. You can write down bottom left Titan Killer 7, and you can remember that. Or if you just have a good memory. Now you are timed, so you're gonna have to be quick. So maybe like TK7 on the bottom, and then you can look for the next one. And then if you find it, you can match it together. Now I don't know if that's cheating or not, so be careful when you do that. But that's basically how the new enchanting system works. And that's the new enchanting system. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry for piling on so much about all the enchants. It was just a lot of them to get through, and I wanted to show them all with you. I'm going to make a video about what you should use together and what can be replaced with such and how they will work together. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you later.